My family hijacked my vacation plans for my golden sister and her kids. But this time, I had my own secret escape plan. What happens when years of resentment and sacrifice finally reach a breaking point? Megan Ross planned the perfect solo vacation to escape her family's constant demands, but her sister Lauren had other ideas, turning Megan's getaway into a chaotic circus for her kids. When Megan executed her secret escape to a luxury adults-only resort, she thought she'd finally found peace. But the illusion shattered when Lauren tracked her down, dragging her kids into an explosive confrontation by the pool. Accusations flew, emotions ran high, and for the first time, Megan stood her ground. In a shocking twist of events, Megan's bold move left her family reeling and changed everything. This is the story of a quiet sister who found her voice, and how one choice transformed her life forever. I had planned this vacation for months. A pristine beach, a luxury suite with ocean views, and absolute, blessed solitude. No work emails, no deadlines, and most importantly, no responsibilities. Just me, a stack of novels, and the quiet roar of the waves. It was supposed to be perfect. Then, the phone rang. "Megan, sweetheart," my mother said, her tone syrupy sweet, which was always a bad sign. "I hear you're going to the Bahamas next week." "That's so exciting." My stomach dropped. "It is," I said cautiously. There was a pause, and then it came, the bombshell I should have seen coming. "You know," she began, her voice taking on that pointedly casual tone she used when she was about to ruin my plans, "Lauren's kids would love a beach vacation. They've been cooped up all year. Wouldn't it be wonderful if they could join you?" My grip on the phone tightened. My heart sank. "Mom, this is a solo trip. I've already booked everything." "Oh, don't be selfish, Megan," she interrupted, her tone shifting to thinly veiled disappointment. "You're so lucky. You don't have a husband or kids tying you down. It's not like you have anyone else to worry about. Lauren needs this." I clenched my teeth, biting back the retort that bubbled in my throat. This was typical. Lauren always needed something, and I was always expected to provide it. Lauren, the golden sister, had perfected the art of appearing effortlessly perfect. At 35, she was a stay-at-home mom to 3 kids, Jackson, 12, Lily, 9, and Ava, 7, and her life was a carousel of curated Instagram moments. Beach outings, holiday decorations, themed birthday parties, all meticulously documented for her thousands of followers. Meanwhile, I, at 32, was the reliable one. The one who could always be counted on to help out, because I wasn't burdened by a family of my own. It didn't matter that I worked long hours in a high-pressure job, or that I deserved time to myself. My role in the family dynamic had been carved in stone long ago: support Lauren, cater to her needs, and never, ever complain. After I hung up with Mom, I called Lauren, hoping to reason with her. "Oh, Megan, thank you so much," she gushed before I could even get a word in. "The kids are going to be so excited. Jackson's been talking about snorkeling, and Lily's already picking out swimsuits. And Ava, oh, you know how much Ava adores you." "Lauren," I said, trying to keep my voice even, "I didn't agree to this yet." "But you will," she said breezily, as though it was a foregone conclusion. "You're such a good aunt. And honestly, I could use the break. I've been so stressed lately. 3 kids is no joke, you know." As she rattled on about her stress and her latest Instagram partnership, I felt my last shred of resistance crumble. There was no point arguing. Not with her. When I hung up, I stared at my laptop, the confirmation email for my dream vacation open on the screen. The thought of trading my peaceful getaway for the chaos of Lauren and her kids made my stomach turn. But then, an idea began to take shape. If my family wanted to hijack my vacation, fine. Let them have it. But I wasn't about to spend another trip babysitting Lauren's kids and playing the role of the dutiful sister. This time, I had a plan of my own. The next morning, I called the resort and made a second reservation, this one at an adults-only luxury hotel on the other side of the island. I used a fake name and paid with a different credit card, ensuring that no one in my family would find it. The thought of my secret escape brought a wicked smile to my face. While Lauren and the kids turned my carefully planned trip into a chaotic circus, I would quietly disappear into the serenity of my hidden retreat. For once, I would put myself first. In the days leading up to the trip, I played my part perfectly. I texted Lauren photos of the resort's family-friendly activities, nodded along to my mother's lectures about being grateful for the opportunity to spend time with family, and even packed a few extra snacks for the kids. But underneath the surface, I was counting down the hours until I could make my getaway. This time, I wasn't just going on vacation. I was reclaiming my freedom. And no one, not Lauren, not my mother, not even her 3 sugar-fueled tornadoes of chaos, was going to stop me. This wasn't surrender. This was strategy. The chaos started the moment Lauren arrived. I was lounging in the lobby of the resort, nursing a mango smoothie and soaking in the peaceful ambience. The soft hum of tropical music mixed with the distant crash of waves. For a fleeting moment, I imagined the next few days unfolding exactly as I'd planned: relaxation, solitude, and serenity. Then, the double doors swung open, and the Ross family hurricane blew in. Lauren strode into the lobby like she owned the place, her blonde hair perfectly styled, her designer sunglasses perched on her head. Trailing behind her were her 3 kids, Jackson, 12, already complaining about the heat, Lily, 9, dragging a stuffed dolphin by its tail, and Ava, 7, skipping and singing an off-key version of Baby Shark. A porter struggled behind them, laden with what looked like enough luggage for a month-long expedition. Lauren had brought not just 1, but 3 oversized suitcases, a cooler full of snacks, and an inflatable flamingo nearly the size of a small car. "Maggie!" Lauren called out, spotting me. Her voice echoed through the lobby, turning heads. I plastered on a smile. "Hi, Lauren." She swept in for a hug, the scent of coconut lotion trailing her. "I hope you don't mind," she said breezily, gesturing to the mountain of luggage, "but I brought the kids' favorite snacks and toys. They'll probably need some extra room in your suite." "My suite?" I blinked, the words sinking in. "Wait, my suite?" "Oh, it's fine," Lauren said, waving off my concern. "You booked the biggest room, right? You've got plenty of space. Besides, we'll barely be there, we'll be out having fun." By we, she clearly meant me and the kids. The porter cast me a sympathetic glance as he wheeled their luggage toward the elevator. I followed, my stomach sinking. The nightmare began in earnest the next morning. I had barely finished my coffee when Ava spilled orange juice on my laptop, giggling like it was the funniest thing in the world. "Oopsies," she chirped. "Careful, Ava." I snapped, grabbing a napkin to blot the sticky mess. Lauren glanced up from her phone, barely paying attention. "Oh, she's just a kid, Meg. Relax." I bit my tongue, suppressing the urge to point out that my relaxing vacation was already in tatters. The rest of the day was a blur of noise and chaos. The kids insisted on visiting the local aquarium, a tourist trap packed with screaming children and overpriced trinkets. Jackson pouted the entire time because the sharks weren't cool enough, while Lily threw a tantrum over a souvenir she wanted. Ava kept wandering off, forcing me to chase after her like a frantic babysitter. Lauren, meanwhile, spent most of the trip snapping selfies and posting them to Instagram. "Best mom ever. #beach vibes, #making memories," she captioned one photo, posing in front of a tank of jellyfish while the kids bickered in the background. That evening, I tried to salvage what little energy I had left by sitting on the balcony with a glass of wine. But my peace was short-lived. "Megan." Lauren called, barging into my suite without knocking. She was holding a glass of something pink and fruity. "The kids are hungry. Can you take them to the buffet? I need a minute to, unwind." I stared at her, incredulous. "You've been unwinding all day, Lauren." She waved a hand dismissively. "Come on, Maggie. You're so good with them. It's just dinner. The buffet turned into a three-ring circus. Jackson tried to sneak extra desserts, Ava spilled spaghetti on the floor, and Lily loudly announced that the chicken nuggets were gross. By the time we returned to the suite, I was ready to scream. As I tucked the kids into bed, Lauren waltzed in, refreshed and glowing. "Thanks, Meg. You're a lifesaver," she said with a smile. "I don't know what I'd do without you." Over the next few days, the pattern continued. The kids demanded constant attention, dragging me to noisy water parks, crowded souvenir shops, and chaotic luau's. Every time I tried to carve out a moment for myself, Lauren found a way to rope me back in. "I need you to keep an eye on the kids while I get some photos," she'd say, holding up her phone. "The lighting is perfect right now." Her Instagram feed filled with carefully curated shots of her lounging by the pool, sipping cocktails, or gazing thoughtfully at the horizon. Meanwhile, I was stuck chasing Ava through the gift shop as she tried to buy every stuffed animal in sight. By the third night, my patience was hanging by a thread. As I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the resentment bubbled to the surface. This wasn't a vacation. This was servitude. Lauren had hijacked my plans, turned me into her unpaid babysitter, and acted as though she was doing me a favor. But as frustration simmered, so did determination. I thought about the second reservation, the secret escape plan I had put in place. My hidden oasis was waiting for me, and I was ready to reclaim my sanity. Tomorrow, I decided, was the day. No more babysitting. No more chaos. This time, I was taking control. The resort had become unrecognizable. What was supposed to be a tranquil getaway had transformed into a carnival of chaos, and the ringleader was Lauren. I had barely managed to endure the constant noise, the endless demands of her kids, and her complete lack of boundaries. But now, she had crossed a line. I returned from an early morning walk along the beach, hoping to catch a rare moment of peace, only to find Lauren lounging in the lobby with two other women. Both were dressed in breezy sundresses and oversized sunglasses, the type of women who seemed to have influencer etched into their DNA. "Oh, there's Maggie," Lauren said brightly, waving me over. I approached cautiously, noting the amused smirks on her friends' faces. "Meg, these are my friends Carly and Beth," Lauren announced, gesturing at the two women. I told them about how fabulous this resort is, and they decided to join us for a few days. I blinked, stunned. "You invited your friends?" "Of course," Lauren said as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "It's perfect. The kids will have other kids to play with, and we can have some grown-up time, too. Isn't it great?" It wasn't great. It was a nightmare. By lunchtime, the resort was overrun with squealing children, their shrill voices bouncing off the cabana walls. Carly and Beth's kids joined Lauren's in forming a pint-sized wrecking crew, while the women lounged by the pool, sipping cocktails and scrolling through their phones. "Megan, can you keep an eye on the kids for a bit?" Lauren called out as I passed. "We're trying to organize a group photo." I stared at her, incredulous. "You want me to watch 6 kids while you take selfies?" "Oh, come on, Meg. You're so good with them," she said dismissively before turning back to Carly and Beth. By the second day of this chaos, I was at my wits' end. The group dinners were loud and chaotic, with Lauren and her friends monopolizing the conversation while the kids banged silverware on the tables like tiny percussionists. Every activity was planned around what the kids wanted: water parks, scavenger hunts, and messy craft sessions that left glitter and paint smeared across my clothes. The breaking point came that evening when I overheard my mother's voice on a call with Lauren. I had stepped out onto the balcony to escape the noise, but their voices carried clearly through the thin walls. "You're so lucky Megan's with you," my mother was saying. "It's so generous of her to let you take over her trip. She's always been so selfless." Selfless. The word felt like a slap. I clenched my fists, staring out at the horizon as the waves rolled in, dark and endless. Selfless, I thought bitterly. More like spineless. For years, I had let my family steamroll me, using my time, my money, and my energy to make their lives easier. They called it generosity. I called it enabling. Enough was enough. That night, as the group gathered for yet another noisy dinner, I made my decision. Lauren was laughing with Carly and Beth, their voices carrying over the clatter of dishes. The kids were darting between tables, nearly knocking over waitstaff, and my mother was busy fussing over Ava's tangled hair. I excused myself quietly, slipping away from the chaos and heading to my room. Once inside, I locked the door and opened my suitcase. Inside was my carefully packed escape bag, a smaller case with everything I needed for my second reservation. Months ago, when I first booked this trip, I had anticipated something like this. My family's track record of hijacking my plans was too consistent to ignore. So, I had made a backup reservation at an adults-only luxury resort on the other side of the island. It was a place Lauren and her brood couldn't follow, a sanctuary where children weren't even allowed on the premises. I pulled up the reservation details on my phone, double-checking everything. My alias, the room number, the transportation I had arranged. Everything was ready. As I packed my essentials, a sense of calm washed over me. For the first time in days, I felt in control. I left a note on the desk for Lauren. Gone for a few days. Enjoy the rest of the trip. Megan. It was short and deliberately vague. I wasn't about to explain myself. At midnight, I slipped out of the room, my bag slung over my shoulder. The hallways were silent, the resort finally asleep after a day of chaos. I walked to the front desk, where a taxi was already waiting to take me to my secret destination. As the car pulled away, I looked back at the resort, its brightly lit windows shrinking in the distance. A pang of guilt hit me, but I pushed it aside. For years, I had sacrificed my happiness for the sake of others. This time, I was putting myself first. The drive to the new resort felt like a weight lifting from my shoulders. When I arrived, the difference was immediate. No screaming children, no chaotic energy. Just quiet sophistication and adults enjoying the serene beauty of the island. I checked in under my alias, savoring the moment. This was my escape, my sanctuary. Lauren and her entourage could have the circus. I was finally reclaiming my peace. The clock struck midnight, and the resort was finally silent. No kids shrieking, no group dinners, no Lauren. Just the soft hum of the air conditioner in my room and the faint crash of waves beyond the balcony. I had been waiting for this moment all evening, counting down the hours until I could slip away unnoticed. My escape plan, months in the making, was about to be set in motion. I packed quietly, careful not to disturb anything that might tip them off. My essentials went into the small bag I'd kept tucked at the back of my closet, a couple of swimsuits, a sundress, my favorite book, and a pair of sandals. I folded everything with care, the methodical task calming my nerves. On the desk, I left a short note. Gone for a few days. Enjoy the rest of the trip. Megan. I placed it under a decorative seashell where Lauren was sure to find it. The note was deliberately vague. I didn't owe them an explanation. Slipping out of the room, I felt a thrill of exhilaration mixed with guilt. The halls were dimly lit, the resort quiet as I navigated toward the lobby. My footsteps echoed softly against the tiles, and I glanced over my shoulder more than once, half expecting one of Lauren's kids to come bounding out of nowhere. When I reached the lobby, the concierge greeted me with a polite smile. "Miss Ross?" he asked. "That's me," I said, though it wouldn't be for much longer. "Your taxi is waiting." The car was idling just outside, and the driver, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, helped me load my bag into the trunk. "Where to?" he asked as I slid into the back seat. I gave him the name of the new resort. The drive felt surreal. As the lights of the hijacked vacation faded behind me, I let out a long, shaky breath. The tension in my shoulders began to ease, and for the first time in days, I felt a glimmer of peace. When we pulled up to the new resort, I was struck by how different it was. The entrance was sleek and modern, with soft lighting and a tranquil atmosphere. No squealing kids, no chaotic energy. Just quiet sophistication. "Welcome to Oasis Serenity," the receptionist said as I approached the desk. Her smile was warm, and her tone hushed. "May I have your name?" "Eliza Harper," I said smoothly, giving the alias I had booked under. Within minutes, I was checked in and handed a key to my room, a luxurious suite overlooking the ocean. The suite was everything I had dreamed of and more. The bed was massive, draped in crisp white linens, and the balcony offered a breathtaking view of the moonlit waves. A chilled bottle of champagne sat waiting for me, along with a handwritten note from the resort. "Welcome to Serenity. Enjoy your escape." I poured myself a glass, savoring the first sip as I stepped onto the balcony. The infinity pool below sparkled in the moonlight, its surface perfectly still. I could already feel the stress melting away. This was what I had been waiting for. The next morning, I woke to the sound of waves lapping against the shore, not the chaos of Lauren's kids running down the hall. I ordered room service, freshly baked croissants, tropical fruit, and a steaming pot of coffee, and enjoyed breakfast on the balcony. Afterward, I headed to the spa for a massage. The therapist's hands worked wonders, kneading away the tension that had built up over years of being the reliable one. "How do you feel?" she asked when the session was over. "Like a new person," I replied. The days that followed were pure bliss. I spent lazy afternoons by the infinity pool, a book in one hand and a cocktail in the other. The staff was attentive but unobtrusive, offering chilled towels and fresh fruit without disturbing my peace. Meals were a highlight, gourmet dishes served in a quiet, candlelit restaurant where I didn't have to share a table with whining kids or listen to Lauren's endless chatter. I took long walks on the beach at sunset, the golden light reflecting off the water. For the first time in years, I felt free. Free from expectations, free from obligations, and free from the shadow of my golden sister. One night, as I lounged on the balcony with a glass of wine, I thought about the note I had left behind. By now, Lauren and the kids would have noticed my absence. I imagined the chaos unfolding back at the other resort, Lauren scrambling to figure out where I'd gone, my mother calling me selfish, the kids whining about Aunt Maggie disappearing. A small smile crept across my face. For once, I didn't care what they thought. This was my time, and I wasn't going to let anyone take it from me. As I drifted off to sleep that night, the sound of the waves lulling me into a deep, dreamless slumber, I felt a sense of satisfaction that I hadn't felt in years. This wasn't just a vacation. This was a declaration. I wasn't the family doormat anymore. Morning light poured into the suite as Lauren stretched lazily in bed, blissfully unaware of the chaos brewing. The kids were still asleep, sprawled across the room in various positions that defied logic. She glanced at her phone, debating whether to scroll through Instagram before breakfast. Her daydreams were interrupted by Jackson's groggy voice. "Where's Aunt Maggie?" Lauren sat up, frowning. "She's probably out for a walk or something. She'll be back soon." But when Lily emerged from the bathroom holding a folded piece of paper, Lauren's unease deepened. "What's this?" Lily asked, handing it over. Lauren unfolded the note and read it aloud. "Gone for a few days. Enjoy the rest of the trip. Megan." The words hit her like a slap. "She what?" Lauren screeched, her voice loud enough to wake the entire suite. By the time their mother joined Lauren in the living room, the kids were already buzzing with questions. "Did Aunt Maggie leave us?" Ava whimpered, clutching her stuffed dolphin. Lauren waved the note in the air, her face red with frustration. "Mom, can you believe this? She abandoned us." Her mother, still in her robe and slippers, squinted at the note. "She left without saying anything? That's not like Megan." Lauren huffed, pacing the room. "I can't believe she'd do this to me. What am I supposed to do with the kids now?" She knew I was counting on her to help. Their mother gave her a pointed look. "Lauren, you brought your friends and their kids. You weren't exactly alone." That's not the point. Lauren snapped. This was supposed to be a family trip. Megan's being so selfish. As the morning wore on, the reality of Megan's absence sank in. Lauren tried calling Megan's phone repeatedly, but each attempt went straight to voicemail. She's ignoring me, Lauren said, throwing her phone onto the couch. She's ignoring all of us, their mother corrected, her tone a mix of annoyance and concern. I've tried calling her 3 times already. The kids were growing restless, peppering Lauren with questions she didn't have answers to. Why did Aunt Maggie leave? Is she mad at us? Is she coming back? Enough. Lauren snapped, her patience fraying. I don't know, okay? At breakfast, Lauren tried to maintain her composure as she explained Megan's absence to her mom friends, Carly and Beth. Can you believe it? Lauren said, stabbing at her fruit salad. She just walked out without saying a word. It's so immature. Beth raised an eyebrow. Immature? Or overdue? Lauren froze. Excuse me? Come on, Lauren, Carly chimed in, sipping her mimosa. You've been walking all over Megan for years. Dragging her into your chaos, making her babysit your kids while you take selfies. Can you really blame her for wanting some space? Lauren's jaw dropped. I don't make her do anything. She's family. Helping each other is what family does. Helping each other, or helping you? Beth countered. The weight of their words stung, but Lauren refused to back down. She's being selfish, Lauren insisted. This is supposed to be a family vacation. Is it? Carly asked, tilting her head. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like Megan planned a trip for herself, and you turned it into a circus. Lauren's cheeks flushed with anger. That's not fair. Beth shrugged. Neither is dumping your kids on her and calling it family time. The rest of the day was a disaster. Without Megan to corral the kids, Lauren quickly realized how much she had relied on her sister. At the pool, Jackson refused to share a float with Lily, leading to a loud argument that drew stares from other guests. Ava splashed water on a woman sunbathing nearby, earning Lauren a scolding from the staff. Lunch was no better. The kids whined about the menu, spilled drinks all over the table, and knocked over a chair during their antics. By dinner, Lauren was exhausted. The kids were cranky, her mom friends were distant, and her phone was still filled with unanswered calls to Megan. Meanwhile, the resort staff grew visibly less patient with Lauren's constant requests. Can we get extra towels? The kids keep leaving theirs at the pool. Can someone bring a high chair to the table? Ava can't reach. We need someone to clean the suite. It's a little chaotic. Their polite smiles were thinning, and Lauren overheard one of the waitstaff mutter under their breath as they walked away. That evening, Lauren collapsed onto the couch, her nerves frayed. Her mother sat across from her, a mug of tea in hand. She really left, Lauren said, shaking her head. I can't believe it. Her mother sighed. Maybe you should try seeing it from her perspective. What do you mean? She's always been the one to step in and help, her mother said gently. Maybe this time, she realized she needed to help herself. Lauren said nothing, the truth settling over her like a weight she couldn't shake. The kids eventually fell asleep, their snores filling the suite. Lauren stared at the note Megan had left, rereading the simple words over and over. Gone for a few days. For the first time, Lauren wondered if Megan was ever coming back. The sun was dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink. I sat on the edge of the infinity pool, my legs dangling in the warm water. A tropical cocktail sat on the ledge beside me, condensation beating on the glass. This was paradise. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. No shrieking kids, no passive-aggressive demands from Lauren, and no thinly veiled guilt trips from my mom. Just peace, quiet, and the sound of waves rolling against the shore. I reached for my cocktail, savoring the tangy sweetness as I leaned back and closed my eyes. Then I heard it. A voice I recognized. Megan? Is that you? My eyes snapped open, my stomach twisting as I turned toward the voice. There, standing by the pool in a flowy sundress and oversized sunglasses, was Rachel. Rachel. My cousin. The one person I hadn't accounted for. She slipped off her sunglasses, her wide eyes locking onto mine. What are you doing here? My mind raced. I hadn't told Rachel, or anyone, about my backup plan. But she had been at that family barbecue last month, the one where I'd vented about how my family always hijacked my vacations. Had she overheard more than I realized? I forced a smile, trying to play it cool. Oh, hey, Rachel. What a surprise. Rachel narrowed her eyes, a smirk playing at her lips. A surprise? Megan, don't lie to me. This isn't where you were supposed to be. I sighed, realizing there was no point in denying it. Okay, fine, I said, lowering my voice. This is my escape plan. Rachel tilted her head, intrigued. Escape plan? You know how Lauren always takes over everything. Well, this time, I made a backup reservation. A place where I could actually relax without her and the kids ruining everything. Rachel's eyes widened, then she burst out laughing. You escaped from Lauren? That's genius. Her laughter was infectious, and I couldn't help but grin. For the first time, I didn't feel guilty about my decision. We spent the next hour lounging by the pool, and I told Rachel everything. She listened with rapt attention, occasionally interrupting to call Lauren's antics classic, or to high-five me for my ingenuity. I can't believe you pulled this off, Rachel said, shaking her head. And here I thought you were just going to grin and bear it like usual. Not this time, I said firmly. This time, I needed a break from all of them. Rachel nodded, sipping her drink. You deserve it, Meg. Honestly, I wouldn't last a day with Lauren and her crew. It was comforting to have Rachel on my side, but there was one small problem. Rachel had a tendency to overshare. I realized this when, halfway through the conversation, she pulled out her phone and started snapping photos. Rachel, what are you doing? I asked, eyeing her suspiciously. Just documenting the moment, she said with a wink. I frowned. Don't post anything, okay? The last thing I need is for Lauren or my mom to figure out where I am. Rachel waved me off. Relax. I won't tag you or anything. I wasn't convinced, but I let it go. The next morning, I was lounging on my private balcony when my phone buzzed with a notification. Curious, I opened Instagram and immediately froze. There, on Rachel's story, was a photo of the two of us by the pool, cocktails in hand. The caption read, Cousin Meggie living her best life while the family's at the other resort. #Genius Escape. My heart sank. Rachel, I muttered under my breath, grabbing my phone to call her. She picked up on the second ring. Hey, Meg, she said cheerfully. Rachel, what did I say about posting? Oh, come on, she said, laughing. I didn't tag you, and it's not like Lauren's friends are following me. Are you sure about that? I asked, dread creeping into my voice. Rachel hesitated. Well, I mean, probably not. Later that afternoon, my worst fears were confirmed. While I was enjoying a massage at the spa, my phone buzzed with a string of notifications. Texts from Lauren. Megan, call me now. Where are you? Why is Rachel posting about you being at another resort? I stared at the messages, my stomach twisting. Rachel's story had slipped through the cracks, and now Lauren knew. By the time I returned to my suite, the notifications had multiplied. Texts from my mom, missed calls from Lauren, and even a message from Beth, one of Lauren's friends. Megan, I don't blame you for bailing. Call me when you can. I couldn't decide whether to laugh or cry. My peaceful retreat was unraveling, and I wasn't sure how much longer I could keep my family at bay. That night, I sat on the balcony, nursing a glass of wine as I scrolled through the messages. Lauren's tone had shifted from angry to desperate, and my mom's texts were dripping with guilt-tripping phrases like, "We were worried sick." I sighed, taking a long sip of wine. Rachel might have blown my cover, but I wasn't going to let that ruin my escape. Tomorrow, I decided, I'd deal with the fallout. But tonight? Tonight was still mine. The morning was perfect. I sat by the pool, the sun warming my skin, as I savored a decadent breakfast of fresh fruit, eggs, and croissants. The sound of the waves was soothing, a reminder that I had reclaimed my peace. Then, I heard it, a shrill voice that shattered the calm. "Megan." I looked up, my stomach sinking. Lauren was storming through the resort lobby, dragging her kids behind her. Jackson was sulking, Ava was whining, and Lily looked ready to cry. They were a chaotic whirlwind that didn't belong in this sanctuary. Lauren spotted me by the pool and marched over, her face red with fury. "How could you abandon us like that?" she yelled, her voice cutting through the peaceful ambience. Heads turned, but Lauren didn't care. I stood, setting my coffee down deliberately. "This was my vacation, Lauren," I said, keeping my voice calm but firm. "Not yours. Not the kids. Mine. I'm done sacrificing my happiness for your convenience." Lauren's jaw dropped. "You're being ridiculous. We're family." "Exactly," I cut her off. "Which is why I've put up with this for years. But not anymore." Before Lauren could respond, Ava tugged on her arm. "Mom, I want to go swimming." Lauren looked flustered, her anger momentarily deflated. I took a deep breath, turned on my heel, and walked away, leaving her standing there, speechless. For the first time, I didn't feel guilt. I felt free.